who have cancelled, I mean who have lost, they're still politicians, but they have registered their births in Portugal. And when somebody found out, somebody announced it, or when they filed some complaint, they panicked and they went and cancelled it. The legal position is, under that, they write, perdeu a nacionalidade. Perdeu means you lost the nationality, which means you had acquired. Number one is you acquired on which date, and number two is when you have applied to renounce it, you have lost it. Now why this is important is because you don't get automatic citizenship of India. You could have renounced because you wanted to become a New Zealand citizen. You could have renounced because you want to be a Canadian citizen. Why should there be a presumption that you have renounced Portuguese citizenship only to become Indian citizen? Nothing like that. So don't rush to cancel if something is there, because you will be stateless. You will neither have Portuguese citizenship nor will you have Indian back. You will have to reside in India, and then you have to apply. And I want to warn you one more thing. When I was ASG appearing for the government of India, there was a petition which was filed by some Filipino national who was married to a Goan, who refused to apply for Indian citizenship. She lived there for more than 10 years. And suddenly they discovered she was staying here, overstaying, and they passed order for her extradition. They filed a petition in the High Court and said, I have no family, all have gone to America, many of them in Canada, and there's no home of mine in Philippines. And the government of India, they flew down officers telling nothing doing, she has to go. I said the minimum you can do is apply for a citizenship, but she was refusing to apply for the Indian citizenship. So there was no question of saying that such person should continue in India. Of course, their lawyer tried very hard, and I won't say the name now, but incidentally that lawyer also got Portuguese passport. But I said one statement at that time. I never make a statement without being sure. Based on Supreme Court judgments, I said, the act of granting citizenship is a political and executive act and cannot be called in question in court of law. And that time, the petition was being heard by the then Bombay High Court Judge, Justice Sharad Arvind Bobde, who later became Chief Justice of India. And then he said, I'm very curious on your argument, can you expand? And I argued, and he told the petitioner, you have no case. I'll tell you why it's political. Like for example, you bring a very high profile person into our country. Some other nation or that nation will get upset with our nation. You understand how it is? It's political. It can have political ramifications. You may think, no, this is ordinary. The law is the same for everyone. Secondly, executive-wise, it doesn't require, it's not a judicial or a quasi-judicial order. You have no right to. Just because you apply for US citizenship doesn't mean you applied so you must get. You understand? I'm making this clear. Similarly, if you apply for UK citizenship, just because you applied, you won't just get it. Even if you fulfill all the criteria, they don't have to give a reason why they can reject your application. So this is what it is. And with this situation, that's why I said to you, relinquishment doesn't take you anywhere back into India, or doesn't give you back, doesn't revive your Indian citizenship. So you have to be cautious on these things. Now there is one issue which has been faced by many people. Many people, after getting Portuguese passport, because you know in Goa, when you go to the Portuguese consulate and ask for your cartão de cidadão, they ask you to go and surrender your Indian Indian passport. So many have happily gone there, taken that certificate and come back and taken the cartão, the passport or whatever they have taken. Now, when they are applying for OCI card, they have been told, you have not got a renunciation certificate. You are not renounced Indian citizenship. And I think that is the most funny thing. Because he or she is applying by saying, I have already obtained a foreign citizenship. I am a foreign citizen. And therefore, I want an OCI card. But they say you're not got a renunciation. So many have been caught in this web. And that is where I then wrote to the ministry, and the ministry said no. In India, we are not insisting, but they did not tell me what abroad. In foreign missions abroad, they are asking you for the renunciation certificate, but in India, they don't ask you for renunciation certificate, they're accepting it. So I will get that sorted out with the government of India, because you can't have two yardsticks. And you can't allow somebody, it's like if you remember, because it suits your convenience, that one Choksi who went somewhere with a foreign passport, suddenly government of India said, no, he is not renounced, so he's still an Indian citizen and we can bring him back. I think all this focus should stop. Be true to yourself. If he has acquired it, he has automatically lost Indian citizenship. So you apply all the other laws and get him back. There's not a problem. Even if he becomes a foreign citizen subsequently, having committed a crime in India when he was Indian citizen, or even if he is a foreign citizen having committed a crime in India, he is a criminal. And we can apply the proper sections and bring him. You don't have to try to fight a big battle going on to the High Court and all that he is a citizen or not a citizen. Except if he himself saying, I'm not wanting Indian citizenship, doesn't matter. He's a criminal. Criminal has no territory. Criminal has no nationality. He's a criminal. So you understand what I'm saying? These kind of things we must understand. The fundamentals are very straight and clear. But when they want to juggle out, they want to make some issues, I don't know whether it's genuinely with an intention of allowing him to reside there longer and keep fighting the battle, or generally they want to bring him back. So sometimes these are things which run in our mind. We look at all possible permutations and combinations, because remember, I was also public prosecutor, so when we think of somebody as a criminal, we think, is it him and only him and no one else? We think, could it be possible that someone else came? Could it be possible somebody else did? I mentioned in the Florida Assembly, which our Honorable Mayor and Mayoress may know in Vasco, there was a murder in Vasco, a double murder. Pratima Naik, she was accused. And she is supposed to have murdered her mother-in-law and sister-in-law. And she was accused, and some relation of her, supposed to be a boyfriend or something like that, was supposed to be the approver. He became the approver there. And the High Court asked me, can you appear and as an amicus curiae, that is a friend of the court, because no lawyer wanted to argue that matter. I said, all right. I looked at the papers, I said, I don't know them, I don't know the accused, and I don't know the criminal also. I mean the criminal or the victim. So I said, I don't mind. I took up the matter, and well, after I argued, I got her acquitted, because I explored all the other possibilities and explored where the technical flaws lay in the prosecution, in the investigation. And the circumstances could not add up to her committing the crime. Now why I'm saying this, I'm trying to tell you how to think of everything else when you're closing something. So therefore, if they want to give you the citizenship, there's no need of trying to look elsewhere, because it's a straightforward answer here. You have registered your birth, you have got the citizenship. You are coming with a document saying, I've got my identity card, my karta down, I've got a foreign passport. How can they tell you now, come and renounce your Indian citizenship? It's mockery. And therefore, I think we should not fall into this. There's another issue which I don't know many of you might have faced, and which many have been writing to me either in the email or have been sending me messages on WhatsApp. If there is a family, but the husband, or let us say the wife, one spouse does not live with the other, and then that one spouse has two children and the other spouse has the other two children. One has got Portuguese citizenship, the other one has not got. What is the status of the child? Section 8 of the Citizenship Act says, if the father of the child has acquired a foreign citizenship, then the child will become citizen as per the father's citizenship. What happened to the mother? She continues to be gone. She has not given up. Why should a child go that side? Are you understanding this thing? So I have felt that this is completely wrong. I have told them you apply and tell, and if you get a rejection, you come to me. I will file a petition in the High Court by saying this section violates Article 14, right of equality. Because much as a man has his status, a woman also has her status. So therefore, we cannot just rely on one side and deprive the child of where that parent wants the child to go. Or you can't be dragged on the other side. So therefore, I think that we need to look at these kind of issues. And if there are any other problems which come in, because this, you will realize they are having these problems, a lot of them are facing these issues, and they're going in for the OCI card. And then they say no. Of course, there is one window there. When the child becomes 18, the child can come back and opt for Indian citizenship. But I think that is something asking it too late. By the time the child will say, I'm not interested. I don't know how many after being inverted commas, persecuted by saying you're not getting an Indian citizenship, would like to come back. So therefore, I say to you all, see, that bond when I spoke from the beginning, that bond which you need to connect, if that is allowed with a dual citizenship, that longing, that belonging, that coming back home, even if you remember Dvorak, the famous composer, wrote that famous Largo in that symphony, Going Home, remember that one? It's a beautiful one. And it shows, though he was from there, he goes abroad, and he has that sense of coming home. He wants to come back home. He writes that very, very beautiful music. You had some of those, many of those American songs where they speak of going home. You know that. Swanee River, you know that. You can just think of the words to see the meanings of it. He wants to come back to that place where he was born. He wants to enjoy that place. Everyone wants it. And I think nothing like going home, putting your head on that pillow. Wherever you are, you still will come back. You will get the best sleep in your home. In Goa, never forget it. Even if you have the best, the most comfortable bed here in London, when you come back to Goa, that kind of sleep you will never get any other place. Now moving ahead for the dual citizenship, how do we move for that? I want to tell you one thing. There was a lot of pressure built on the government of India some years back. The Indian diaspora was responsible for bringing up the issue, and there was a committee appointed by the government of India. And I will now deliberately say this part of it because sometimes there is a belief that a particular government may not be in favor of dual citizenship, and therefore why should we talk about it? And I don't agree with it. And I will explain why. Honestly, dual citizenship is a complex issue. It not only involves rights across nations, but also taxation issues come up and security issues. So from that part of it, the government of India will be cautious about whom to accept and whom not to accept. Because you may have people from countries the government of India may not want, who may have acquired citizenship here and then get a dual citizenship in India. I don't want to name any country, but you can understand what I mean. Therefore, having the dual citizenship for our people, don't forget that we Goans are a very small number, very, very tiny drop, I would say, in the ocean. But as our Honorable Mayor correctly said, there are other groups, very powerful groups, very rich groups also. And they control sometimes the markets too. They themselves demanded it. And the government of India, headed by then Prime Minister Vajpayee, put L.M. Singhvi. He was a High Commissioner here in London. L.M. Singhvi was also senior advocate to the Supreme Court. He was appointed as a one-man commission for purpose of getting something out of it. And he made a report. In fact, he recommended dual citizenship. But at that time, the government of India was not very sure of everything and how to go about it. And they were not having that kind of an absolute majority, so you think politics also works. And therefore, finally they came out with this, first there was a PIO card, then they came with this OCI concept, pursuant to the LMC. As a matter of fact, if you know our foreign minister, which is External Affairs Minister, Jaishankar, has himself said that issue is still alive of dual citizenship. So if that issue is still alive, I think we need to get them together so that we can put forward our views, which we are doing. We are drafting the representation. Even we are giving a draft of the bill for amendment of the Constitution, an amendment of the Citizenship Act, because you require the Constitutional Amendment and you require the Citizenship Act. And we will try. And as Honorable Mayor has said, nothing like trying, because you try, you succeed. And I'm quite sure, when I was a young boy, a young lawyer, I'll be honest with you, I told a particular minister, oh, so many people are taking Portuguese passport and they're going, but they're still keeping Indian passport as service. And he said to me, if we can't give them job opportunity, let them become overseas, we cannot chase them after they come back. And I never forgot that, and that was right. So you think of this, and I wish that we can make sure that before I probably hit the sack, we will have the dual citizenship issue resolved, because it is not just us, it is every Indian who is out of the country, who wishes to come back and who wishes to be in his homeland, will have the same aspirations, same dreams, which I think we can gather numbers, we can join with other groups, and we can put a united brief to the Government of India. And I think the Government of India, which loves the Indian diaspora, comes and does many things for Indian diaspora, can be pressurized, can be requested, and I think we can achieve our goal. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the open forum. We are going to have question and answers. We're already behind schedule, so we're just restricted to 10 minutes. Please, let me set the ground rules right. Please introduce yourself, where you come from. Only ask questions related to dual citizenship. Do not ask any questions which are not related to dual citizenship. The question to be directed to the presiding officer, Mr. Simon De Silva, and that is going to direct the question. All right? Address the question. So, Q&A, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure we have a lot of questions. I'm going to move around with the mic. So if you want to introduce yourself very quickly, and if you have questions pertaining to, you have one, okay? Please raise your hand if you can. Hi.
My name is Salvador Pereira. I have a question to Mr. Carlos regarding the dual citizenship. When I ask the question, please, I don't want to be distracted. Is that okay? Has the legal fraternity advised what are the requirements to achieve dual citizenship, and do we have all these documents in hand if you can show me?
I have already explained that to get dual citizenship, you require to have an amendment to the Constitution. After having an amendment to the Constitution, you require an amendment to the Citizenship Act. And this I have stated, so I don't know if you heard it, and that is what is required to be done by Parliament. And only Parliament can amend it. That is why I have said we need to get together. Only a small percentage of Goans cannot achieve it. We need to get the other Indian diaspora, and on this basis we'll be able to get this done.
Further to my question, as you said, Section 9 of Citizen Act of 1955 and Article 9 of the Constitution both clearly and explicitly prohibit the acquisition of dual citizenship, which we need to work on. How can you say this can be amendment which is the part of the constitution? Do we need a majority in the parliament, or do we need to discuss this in the parliament?
Amendment of the constitution is in different ways. If amendment is relating to what we call the basic foundation of the constitution, then it requires 2/3 of majority in both houses of parliament and ratified by the states. But citizenship is not a matter which is a basic fundamental structure of the constitution. A simple majority is sufficient to make an amendment, and constitution can be amended, and there have been many amendments to the constitution which have been done just by a simple majority. And to amend an act, the Citizenship Act, it is only just a passing in the house. It doesn't require any 2/3 or 3/3 or anything like that. No, you can't keep asking so many questions. One question.
All right, we have more questions. There are a lot more people who want to ask questions, so we just move on to this gentleman. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a humble request. If you can just restrict to one question, please.
My question goes to Dr. Carlos. Dr. Carlos, you have said some time back, about 15 years back or 20 years back, when people started registering and still maintaining the Indian citizenship or passports, okay? No one took note that time while they were renewing. People still had the dual citizenship, somehow entered the foreign land on Portuguese passport and managed to renew their Indian passport. It's only now they have come with the problem. Can the Indian government ask this citizen to get a proof from the Portuguese or other, considering that they are not registered?
Generally, a person is not required to prove the negative. What you are required to, if you have the evidence, they need to confront you with it. But I will tell you what has happened. I'm telling you from the practical side. Many people have registered, and large number of them still have not surrendered the Indian citizenship. They continue to have both citizenship. Legally it is wrong, but it is factually there. Some people, when they have gone before the passport officer, this passport officer has asked, give your citizenship card, and out of fear, they say it's at home. Do you understand?
Yeah.
They have not declared that they are Indian citizens. He just puts the question to them, bring your citizenship card. And he got caught. A lawyer told me that he was going through immigration and he had a Portuguese card and a passport, everything, but he was traveling on Indian passport. And immigration asked him, by looking at the computer, give your card, give your card. He said, which card? Aadhaar card? So he said, I knew the monkey was up and he's going to trap me. So then he said, no, that Portuguese one. He said, I don't have any Portuguese. You're looking at the computer. That looking at the computer and asking you, you have a fear that he has this data in his system. And out of that weakness, you say, yes, here it is. And you fall in the trap. Now, unless there's a criminal case against you, unless someone brings some documents proving that you have registered your birth, earlier the Portuguese government itself had a website where you could easily enter in the details. Anybody could enter the details and find out somebody had a Portuguese registration done or not. Today that website is not available. So someone has to engage a lawyer and go and find out, get his exact date of birth and his place of birth and everything in his full name, maybe 6 names or 8 names, and go there to Portugal, get the document and come back. And on that basis, then file a case against him. Then the government of India asks the embassy in Lisbon to verify and then they proceed. Otherwise, there is no such system where the government of India can just go on the computer. It's not that their computers are linked to their computers and find out your citizenship. One. Number two, there are sailors who are having this problem. And even if they have an Indian passport, they have an Indian CTC. When they come abroad, they try to go on a ship with a foreign passport. And that's where the problem starts. Because the system there has got all your details of your CTC, of all your travels, everything. That is also connected with the DG shipping in India. So therefore, those sailors are the ones who are having the problems. You understand? When the system picks up about you. Others, if you come to other places, just come here and work in a shop or something like that, then there's a question.
Allow me to ask you another question regarding the spouse problem you put. Just mere registration of marriage makes the other...
No.
Thank you.
The registration of marriage does not necessarily relinquish the citizenship of that person. That person has a right to continue his or her citizenship, whichever it is. It can be a Goan married to a Swedish. Both will have their own nationalities. And doesn't have to merge into one. On property, yes, you may have communion of assets, but not communion of nationalities.
Thank you, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, again, please listen to one question because we have so many people that want to ask questions. We want to give more people a chance to do it. So we have another gentleman.
My name is Santana Gonsalves. First of all, I'd like to say thank you so much for being here for all of us in Goa. You are the inspiration for all Goans and Goa. Right? Karzaci kolay san, amka itlete tuzoslo munis azun basun assembly meona, and kennas meochine. Takats lagon tukashabaski sir, adoga kalus albaris. And I'm sogli konkara hangasati, ekdom kushal tugatun, and it to ekdom bari kam kutta. Assembly. Yes, to come Sadan Salvador and they want to reside in Mesangaj. My next question is for you. The children who are born in this country, are they entitled to have a dual citizenship, please?
The first part of that, the question I will answer in this way. Their citizenship will depend on the citizenship of the parents. So it is by birth you get the citizenship. So if the parent has already got the citizenship, let us say UK citizenship, then the child gets UK citizenship. Now your question of entitlement, whether the children can get it. Yes, our Constitution of India itself allows first generation, second and third generation to get citizenship of India. Portugal also allows first generation, second generation, up to the third generation you can get registration of birth. So therefore, when this citizenship constitution is amended, this provision can be made to ensure, because now time has passed from the time that we have got liberation, from the time we have got independence in India. So we will definitely be moving with people in second or third generation who will be around. And therefore, when that amendment is made, we will have to factor to make sure that they also can get the benefit.
Thank you, sir, and wishing you a very good luck. And hoping to see you one day as the CM of Goa.
Thank you. Just on the other part of it, first I answered your questions. If you can give me good people who you can suggest to me, we can try to bring good legislators who can do good for Goa, think of Goa, and not be looters or robbers over there. It all depends on you.
So I must say the gentleman has set the ball rolling. All right.
Good evening, everyone on the dais. I'm Pritam Fernandez, and I would like to ask reputed Advocate Carlos this question from me. I have a Portuguese passport. I have got OCI card. I have got European settlement. My wife is an Indian. She is having European settlement as well. And here we are in London for 10 years by now. Now, regarding dual citizenship, if I would like to go and stay in Goa, it is possible because my wife is a Goan or Indian citizen.
In your statement, you said that you are also having an OCI card, am I right?
Yeah.
Your OCI card allows you entry into India unlimited, and it doesn't depend on your wife accompanying you or not accompanying you. Your wife's presence also is not necessary. On that strength alone, your entry is guaranteed, and therefore it's irrespective whether your wife remain Indian or did not remain Indian, your entry would come in. Only what would happen is, there's also one more thing I want to warn you. I want to warn you in the sense that many people think that the moment they got a foreign citizenship, they have lost their property in Goa. Please don't believe this. There may be people trying to psych you into, misleading you, so that you may quickly sell your properties to some broker or somebody else. The law is not, because you have acquired a foreign citizenship, you lose land. The law is, if you are a foreign citizen, you cannot buy land without going through FEMA provisions. That is, making normal banking transaction and buying non-agricultural property. You cannot buy agricultural property. You understand? Foreign citizen cannot buy agricultural properties. So please understand and make it clear, so you don't lose your properties, and you will not be, like you would say, like how you get defranchised, you don't lose any property in Goa which you can continue. So even if you have property in Goa, you will not lose it. You understanding? Yes. So if you wish to sell it tomorrow, you may have to go through get your money in your pounds or whatever it is, pay through the banking channels, through your NRI, whatever your foreign account, that the payment can come there and show it to the Reserve Bank, and your transaction is totally clear. So you don't have any worry about this. It is not your question, but I just said it to them so that everybody knows and should not panic to give up what you have by some people misleading you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, I think we just have 2 minutes and we'll quickly ask a question. We just have time for just 2 more questions, sir.
Hello, this is Advocate Carlos. Do we really need dual citizenship? I would prefer triple citizenship.
That is individual choice. There may be some people who may not wish.
My second question is, in case of a diplomatic role, which country is going to help? It's not like Pramod Sawant Vyupachi kasni garaz na, like second time maka kitak padla.
When there's a diplomatic role, it makes no difference, because your rights as citizens are guaranteed by statutes. So it will have to be by statute. It's not by I like you, so I allow you to become a dual citizen. So it's by statute, it will be recognized. International convention will allow you to protect your rights. That won't be a problem.
So which country do you think is going to come to rescue?
It depends. Why should we think of this?
In case we have
when the problem comes, we'll look at how it works. So this is hypothetical.
Alright, thank you.
Okay, a lot of people want to ask more questions. You can take it offline later. Council is going to be with us. We just have questions for one question. Just one question.
I am Juan Zanunis, working in Charles St. Westminster Hospital. So, may I know if we get the dual citizenships, can we get a right to put the votes in India and in Goa?
That's what I said. Dual citizenship will not allow you to vote in both the places. They may allow you, that is a political decision, whether to allow you to vote here and there, or only there and not here. There will be an understanding between both the governments, like you avoid double taxation, you understanding? You avoid a double taxation. So that is how they will make it. That is a decision which the government of India alone or the government of any nation can take, whether to allow a person holding dual citizenship to vote or not. Personally, while a strict view may be allow them to vote in one place, I feel if you are a citizen also of another place, why should you not have a say? Why should you not vote? Why should you not say, I want good people here, and therefore I come back to vote for my homeland, for good people in my homeland.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, we just have the last question. Thomas sir is going to be here through this evening. He's going to enjoy the Bones Night, which is coming up. So last question for this evening.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Vincent Rego, and thank you, Advocate Dr. Carlos, for coming here and addressing to the Global Goan Association. My question is this dual citizenship which you are going to file as a petition. Is it for only Goans or in general for all India? And how long that process will take, or it will drag on for years? Yeah, that's it.
First thing I want to tell you that you have to know, though we have in India, I'm a Goan, someone says I'm a Bengali, I'm a Maharashtrian, I'm a Gujarati, whatever, or a Keralite. India recognizes one citizenship. The Supreme Court, in the very famous Dr. Pradeep Jain, when they were talking of admissions for medical colleges across India, spoke of one domicile, that is domicile of India, not domicile of Goa, we say we are from Goa. They spoke of one domicile. So therefore, when we have one nation, we will have only one citizenship. Now the question about how long will it take, that is not in our hand. And that is all on when the government of India will take the positive decision, or when we can pressurize the government of India to take the decision. It's not something which is our fundamental right to have a dual citizenship. It's known, no one's fundamental right, nowhere in the world. So therefore you can't do this, and you cannot expect that there can be a time frame which can be done. But if you don't put up the pressure, it will be believed that the flames have died out and nobody wants it. So we have to keep that pressure building and to ensure we reach the goal which we have started out.
Thank you very much. Can we have a big round of applause? We appreciate your understanding. A lot of people have a lot of doubts, have to ask a lot of questions. We can take it offline. But for now, before we invite this very active lady to propose the vote of thanks, let me introduce our active member of this association, who is also an active member of ruling Labour Party in London. She's also a trainer with the London Borough of Hounslow. Can we have a big round of applause for Mrs. Pamela Rodriguez to introduce Ms. Tina Costa.
Thank you, Udesh. Good evening, everybody. When I say Tina from Kuch Kuch Hota Hai comes to my mind, a very Candy Floss character. But today I'm going to introduce to you a strong Tina Costa, who is a distinguished artist with over 30 years of diverse experience spanning radio presenting, script writing, voice-over artistry, event hosting, singing and theatre. Influenced by her parents' legacy in broadcasting, Tina followed in the footsteps of her father, Alan Costa, who was a respected announcer and producer at the All India Radio in Goa and Mumbai. In addition to her extensive work in radio and the arts, Tina contributes features and interviews to magazines and newspapers, showcasing her versatility and depth in media. She has made a significant impact by hosting over 200 art and cultural programs in Goa and Mumbai, including the prestigious Judy Bailey concert, famous for their song, Give Me Hope, Joanna. Currently, Tina provides weekly news updates to Radio Mango, a Canadian podcast, and serves as a full-time media manager at the Sona Paranta Goa Center for Arts under the VM Salgaonkar Corporation Limited. Her skills also include comparing in Konkani and English for musical shows, festivals, various events, as well as lending her voice to jingles and documentaries. Tina's vibrant career reflects her exceptional versatility and deep commitment to every task she undertakes. So may I please call upon our dear Tina to come and propose the vote of thanks.
Thank you so much, Pamela, for that introduction, and good evening to all of you. It's just been a few hours, actually hardly 24 hours since I first landed to UK, and it's such a privilege to be here amongst you all. And if I can bring a little bit of essence of Goanness, or what Goan talks about, every Goan, I would like to bring a little bit of Konkani to you too. So, देवाचे नाव घेऊन सगळ्यांक तुमकां बरी सांज हांव दिता मोगलिश्टांनो आनी मोगाळ गोंयकारांनो. माचयेर बसलेले मानेस्त आमच्या सोयऱ्यांक आनी तुमकां सगळ्यांक आमचो नोमान. इश्टांनो, कितलीं वर्सां पासून गोंयकार भाव भयणी तुमी हांगा परदेसांत आयल्यात. तुमचें घरदार सांबाळूंक, तुमची फॅमिली पोसूंक आनी तांकां बरें एक कम्फर्टेबल जीण दिवपाक. आनी तुमी गोंयांत सोडून येतात तुमच्या काळजार फातर दवरून, कित्याक सगळ्यांक गोंयचें आमचें शार, माणकुलें शार, जशें आमचें सायमन बाबान म्हटलां, इट्स प्रेशियस टू अस. न्हय एकदम मोलादीक. It is not an easy task to come to a foreign land and to find a foothold within the state, this world, facing so many migration challenges. And so, the reason for this association, Global Goan Association, to reach out to all the Goans spread across distant lands. President Simon De Silva, तुमची ही येवजण आमच्या गोंयकारां पासत dual citizenship जो हें करूंक वावुरपाक आनी सगळ्यांक तुमी आमकां एकठांय दवरला. तूं खरेंच जशें तूं आमकां उलयता आसतना म्हणटा, ग्लोबल गोवन असोसिएशन, we says it with so much of strength, and that is the strength he gives us as members of the Global Goan Association, and we feel so happy to be a part in this endeavor. And like how our guests have spoken, all our guests have spoken. The chief guest, Advocate Carlos Ferreira, he has meticulously answered every question. And as as Mr. Imtiaz Sheikh has spoken, we have to be proud being here. When I landed here, I saw so many Goans. I've hardly seen any English people around, but so many Goans, and I felt so proud. I said, here we are, we have a strong pillar over here who is ready to support, and we need your support, and we need a lot of people to come together to make this happen. A big thank you to our esteemed guests for your valuable time to be here in support of this initiative of dual citizenship. Our chief guest and keynote speaker, Aldana MLA Advocate Carlos Alvarez Ferreira, and First Lady of Aldana, Mrs. Natasha Alvarez Ferreira. You both have been a constant support and a strong pillar of this association. Our gratitude to you, Mr. Mayor Imtiaz Sheikh, and Mayoress Adorable Amaral Sheikh. Thank you so much for your presence and support to all the Goans, and we feel so proud that you are here to take the lead and to get more people into this particular organization to take this initiative forward. Father Patrick, तुमका आमचे दिनवास मागता तुमचे बेसां ह्या संस्थेचेर. And the man who is responsible for getting us all here for this special purpose, our Global Goan Association President, Simon De Silva, thank you for this vision and your trust in us to be a bridge in this endeavor. This event is powered by Orbit Events and Marketing, supported by the Poachers, Gastropub, Fish Anchor, Zivac, and Requisol. Ignacio Fernandez, thank you for video and photography. Thanks to Thousand Wishes Decor and Event for the beautiful decoration. आणि या कारवडीत रोंग आटपाक आमचे दिनवास तुमका UK चे top Goan live bands. We have Royal and Shades coming up. Global Inspiration, Sanyo Fernandez, DJ Enrico and DJ Quincy. Thank you. Catering Freddy, and to the team of Bukhara London Banqueting Hall for this beautiful space, and to all the members of the association, not forgetting the mood set of the evening, Muktesh Swar. Thank you to each one of you, and thank you for coming. Please spread the news and get some more members. We need your strength and more people to take this forward. Thank you, dear Bodhiguru.
Though we are finished, I want you especially to give a big hand to Simon, who has brought all this together and is making all the efforts to make this a dream of reality. Thank you so much.
It's now over to the presiding officer to adjourn this convention. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Simon De Silva.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Imtiaz. Thank you, all the dignitaries. Karzache collection, Tumkan Soglak, Dev Borekuru, and now, hereby, I adjourn this first Global Goan Convention for fellowship. Please have your snacks, relax, and let's dance now.
I think Carlos sir deserves a huge round of applause for giving us a detailed rundown on, based on the Constitution, law that's involved in achieving our goal. Before we invite, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have an open forum for Q&A. Before we do that, we'd like to invite Reverend Father Patrick to say a few words. It's such an honor to introduce Reverend Father Patrick. He's been a fountainhead of infinite patience. He belongs to the Society of Pilar. He's a chaplain for Goan community in the UK and managing this part of the London area. We also have Reverend Father Lucas, isn't it, who's part of the Swindon area. Can we have a big round of applause for Reverend Father? We definitely need your blessings and guidance to achieve our goal.
I think many of you know me, and many of you have seen me either on the altar or might have visited you in your homes for some reason, either house blessing or something, or some people might have seen me or met me in the hospitals when one of your family members or someone is sick. I'm a bit shy to focus the cameras. Not a media man, not very much active and connected to politics. But I'm happy today to have, to be part of this gathering, wherein we have special dignitaries, Simon as President, who has come forward for this cause. Carlos, thank you for helping this cause. And we have Sheikh and Mrs. Thank you for being here. And all those who are part of this association. I wish, and I think maybe I can become part of that also, right? Yeah, okay. A very great cause, and I wish and pray that the results of this, of your efforts, of our efforts, become maybe fruitful much earlier than we expected to be. Okay. Don't nobody will wait now later. Okay. Goinka म्हणटकच आमी आमची गोंयची मायभास सांबाळूंक जाय आनी आयज तेच मनान हांव फुडें सरतां कोंकणींतल्यान उलोवपाक म्हजी मागणी आनी तशेंच म्हजे एफर्ट्स तुमचे बरोबर सदांच आसतले एज अ चॅम्पियन ऑफ द गोवन कम्युनिटी इन UK आनी तशेंच तुमकां सगळ्यांक देखून अख्ख्या एसोसिएशनाक बरें यश हांव येता आनी म्हजे लागसार कितें जर जाता जाल्यार अदीक करून घडयेक maybe reaching out to many people in the chaplaincy, in all the mass centers. I will try my best to do that. Okay. And तशेंच सगळ्यांचे तुमचो देवाचो आशिर्वाद आसूं आनी जें तुमी सुरवात केलां तें जशें सायमनान सांगलां तें सुरवात करप तितलेंच पुरो न्ही पूण शेवट पासून पावोंक जाय बेगीनच ते शेवट आमकां मेळोचो बरो फळ मेळोचो ही म्हजी मागणी. देव बरें.
Good day, Reverend Father Patrick.